I think when I went to Academy of Fine Art and Design, I remember how hard it was for me to choose what I would like to do. They have fashion design program, they have printmaking program, they have designing program, just graphic design program, they have education, and I always wanted to be an art educator, and I love doing it, and I do it here. But I choose the graphic and painting faculty, and at one point I just decided I just want to do pure art. I don't want to be a designer. I don't want to sit in front of the computer. And maybe it wasn't very smart, money-wise smart, but I really appreciated just sculpting, painting, and drawing. And that's what I do right now. Besides any other jobs, that's what I do on everyday, maybe not on everyday basis, but anytime I can, which is at least a couple times a week. I do commission work. So now that is interesting subject because I really watched another movie you made, which was a movie with Bill Widener. And Bill started doing abstract artworks and found the fact that people don't want to buy it, he found this great because then he doesn't have to repeat himself. He's not in a trap of doing over and over similar things. What I found is that it's truly a trap. So what I do paintings which I know I call them sellable paintings. I know they will sell or they have higher potential than everything else I do. And I basically know that that's what I want to do, and these are like garden views and flowers, and people tend to like them, and they either order those or they buy what I have, but I don't do them that extremely often because, you know, it's just when you do over and over similar thing, it's just boring. And I don't want this type of artwork to dominate what I do for my own artistic satisfaction. So I come every week on Mondays to draw figure for the figure drawing. Not a class, it's just a meeting of amateurs and professionals who are coming. There is a model here, and we just draw or paint or do whatever we think we want to do. And it's challenging. Figure is one of the most challenging art topics in history, especially when you do it from nature. And I found this hard also because I do not set up the model, I do not set up the light, and I do not set up the pose. I also do not have any influence how long the pose takes. So I have to do something interesting in a period of time. I have to adjust everything to this situation, which is right there, and during the period of time which is given to me. So all the artworks, all the drawings you may see here at the end of this movie probably, I made them sometimes in 5 minutes, sometimes in 10 minutes, sometimes in 45 minutes, and sometimes I had 2 hours. So you never know what can happen in 5 minutes, and that's interesting part of all of it. Well, that is a good question. I never thought that using a cardboard can raise so many questions and create so much interest because I thought I'm just grabbing another background and it was inexpensive. I just recycled some boxes. But it seems like it's some form of unusual background, and people are a little surprised that someone just paints on the cardboard. Well, for me, it was important the color of it. It adds different color to just black and white. I usually use black or white tempera or acrylics and charcoal or graphite. I never know what certain pose will require. It's just happening at the moment when it's right there and I'm grabbing what I have. I look and transfer what I see to the cardboard. But it didn't have any ecological meanings. I didn't grab cardboard because I wanted to recycle. I would love to say, yes, I'm great for the earth, and then possibly I am, but that wasn't the reason. I think mainly it was easy access to it, that it's inexpensive, but these are only practical. That's practical part of me. But then it's another thing that I always liked the color of it, and in university, during my university years, students who have to do so many artworks, they just grab whatever is the less expensive. And we had this paper which had similar color, was very inexpensive, and they were huge sheets. And when you painted, it almost looked like a fabric, hanging fabric, and it had a texture. So I was looking here for something similar, but I really couldn't find it. But I found the cardboard, and I found, well, that's even better. Maybe it won't provide me a texture, but what it does, you don't need another board carrying, because we have to carry everything here. We don't have boards here or easels, so I don't need a board or huge easel to bring here every single time. I just can set this, and it's sturdy enough, and I paint on it, and then I switch to cardboard. On Final Friday, on February 25th, that is the wall with all my artworks. And I'm going to show one painting which is highly inspired by all American abstract expressionistic movement. And these are the drawings which were created during the figure drawing meetings. And they also they are very expressive. You can see how crazy I can get here. You just have seen a little bit how I work, how I paint. So I would like to tell you what my approach is. Lots of people is asking me how do I create those figure drawings, and they are asking if I measure first, or do I apply paint first? Well, the answer for it is I do not measure. One of the reasons is I don't have time, because as we mentioned, the poses are 5, 15, and 30 minutes long, or 20 minutes long, but 30 minutes is the longest. So I applied a method which I learned at one point at school. One of my teachers expected me to observe very carefully the reality and then apply with my hand right away what I see. So he expected me to develop connection between my eye and my hand directly. Of course, it goes through the heart too. But that was what I was expected to do, and I found this very challenging. It's really hard. If anybody who is watching it is an artist and wants to try it, go for it. It's not that easy. And I challenge it every single Monday here. I do not, also I don't focus on details of the figure. I look at the whole phenomenon of light and what is around the figure, and then I try to put all of it on the painting. Figure is just like kick-out point, like a starting point for the whole entire painting. Lots of times I paint over previous images. If I don't like them, I'm kind of heartless in it. And I usually apply lights and shadows almost simultaneously with very large brushes. And then, if I feel like it's necessary, I would get to details. But some of my works are more detailed, some of them are less. Depends how much time I had, or depends if I felt it fits this particular artwork. I guess the reason for it is also that I do prefer if the viewer has some space for imagination. I do love beautiful and very well painted representational artworks, but I love to have them around me, I love to look at them, but I also, what I try to create is something what leaves the space for the viewer. I work with mixed media, which that contains end paint and tempera paint, acrylic paint, and I add, depends on the need of the drawing, some charcoal or some graphite lines. But at one point, it depends what this particular artwork needs, because at the end, when the pose is over, the artwork exists as a separate being, and it has to be engaging and interesting painting at the end. And also, the very important part is lots of my artworks has uneven edges, or they are not exactly very particularly cut, and this is intentional. I guess my approach is, if I don't have time to cut those pieces of cardboard or pieces of paper for my little abstract sketches, if I don't have time to cut them extremely evenly, I have to incorporate them into the painting. And it's like the same way when we draw on particular piece of paper or paint, we do have to compose it, the artwork, between those edges. Well, I have some uneven edges to compose the artwork. I understand that for lots of people, cardboard may be a controversial background. However, I didn't rediscover the wheel. I think there are other artists who work on it, and they do keep and keeping uneven edges is also not such a new idea. However, the reason for me to use this kind of background is, I understand it's not acidic free and it's rough looking, but that's my choice, and my style of painting is a little bit rough too, so I guess it serves the purpose and provides me with incredible flexibility, because when I paint, I do not try not to get attached to my artworks and think everything I do is so great. I rather think, okay, I have to work harder and do more. And then cardboard provides me with this freedom of throwing away or damaging pieces. I think they're not worth it of keeping, and I have to rework them endlessly sometimes. So throwing away large, beautiful linen canvas hurts tremendously. It doesn't hurt when you throw away cardboard.